So I got to change the brakes on my wife's car, and I figure why not? Let's just throw a video together. This is gonna be quick and dirty, and my hair is a mess, so I apologize. I don't care. Anyways, quick and dirty video about how to change the brakes on a 2016 Ford Fusion. All right, quick backstory. This is my wife's 2016 Ford Fusion 2.0 liter EcoBoost. Of course, we got to have a turbo car. This was kind of a downgrade from her other car. She had a 2010 Ford SHO. One of the turbos went out, and so instead of fixing it like I should have kept that car. We ended up just picking this up instead, and it's been fairly reliable since we've had it, but it's got the original brakes on it. At least the fronts are. The backs, I think we changed them out, I don't know, 3 years ago. These brakes have 90,000 miles on them, and I think it's time to change them out. So I got the jack already on the pinch weld, and I'm going to jack it up real quick, and then we'll get the wheel off, and I'll show you how to do these brakes. It's not that hard to do. Just a quick, easy video for you guys. Alright, if you're wondering why I'm not using the rack that I have, I could absolutely use it. I have a mess here. And honestly, I haven't had a chance to clean this up. The brakes need to be changed ASAP, so I figured let's just change the brakes out. I'll worry about cleaning this mess up now that the Mustang is gone. If I haven't talked about it, sorry. I will explain in a future video what's going on with the Mustang. Plus, if you're a DIY guy that doesn't have access to a rack like I do, figured this is probably the best way to show you how to do it. Old school style. Not my favorite, because I'm friggin' spoiled with a rack. But let's do it this way. Torquing the lug nuts makes a huge difference in when you go to take them out. A lot of guys like to just zip them on and over torque them. 9 times out of 10, wheel lugs are over torqued if you just zip them on. What you sure don't want is to leave the lug nuts loose. So it's good measure to just torque them down properly, which we'll do at the very end of the video. But anyways, when they're torqued properly, they come right out. You always want to secure your load with a jack stand. And yes, this is the recalled jack stand from Harbor Freight. I should probably turn it in, but I'm not going to do that today. It's been held up fine for pretty much everything I've done, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. First things first, you want to pull this guy out, pop it off with the screwdriver. Second thing you want to do is, there's a boot back here. There's 2 of them. There's one up here, one at the bottom, and there's a cap that covers it, and that should reveal the Allen screw that's holding the calipers together onto the bracket. So we'll get this out first, and then we'll take that one out. All right, we're gonna pop this clip out, and you kind of need 2 screwdrivers. One to push it up, and then one to pop it this way. And that should, ow, it's kind of rough. There we go. Now it's out. These pads are down to nothing. I am surprised we're not grinding. Okay, found it. 3 tries later. T45. I was too lazy to go back in there and look at it myself, but T45 socket is what fits in there. I got it. Got everything here. So a little trick, you always want to do the bottom bolt first and then the top bolts. The reason why is because if you start with the top bolt and then try to loosen the bottom bolt, what happens is the caliper wants to slide out this way. So if your caliper's in the other side of the rotor, then it's kind of the opposite. You start with the top and then do the bottom one second. You have to lose. If you plan on changing the rotor out, which is always a good measure, just get some new rotors, high quality rotors. That's the problem sometimes is even these old rotors are sometimes better than the cheapest rotors you can get on the market. So it's going to have a lot, it has some glazing on here. And honestly, like I said, the ceramic pads will bite into it. They'll be okay, but I definitely would always recommend getting new pads. If you plan on changing the rotors, you got to take the bracket out. It's 2 bolts, 2 18mm bolts, looks like. This one, and then that one right there. 2 bolts. Make sure you blue Loctite it when you're done. Always add blue Loctite when it comes to these bolts, even there. This one pops right off the piston, and then this one's kind of glued on. I got every bit of my money's worth out of these pads. Look at that. I mean, I got every bit of this pad. Every bit of it. I mean, this is almost metal on metal. Look. I mean, it was literally touching metal on one side. I'm surprised I didn't grind the rotor down. But, yeah, I got every bit of this pad. Oh, it's settled. Anyways, sketchy Harbor Freight jack. That's why you have the other jack ready, just in case something does happen. Anyways, I'm going to show you in a second here how to push the piston back in. It's relatively easy. And then this is one of the bolts. It's kind of a slider pin as well. And you got to lubricate this really good. If there's a lot of gunk on here, clean it off really good first, and then lubricate it, pop it back in. Pretty easy. For the pins, a little bit of brake clean and a shop rag. These are actually in really good shape, so we're just going to clean them really good. And then sometimes if they're really gunked up, then maybe you want to run them with a wire brush or a wire wheel. My knees are hurting. Just some brake lubricant works just fine for these, just so they stay slidey. I like to use this green stuff. I got this. This is Permatex synthetic brake grease. Comes in a green bottle. Works really good. I haven't had any issues with it. And then just pop it back into the caliper, like so. Add a little more grease. At least on this style you can do it. On the other styles where the slider's actually onto the caliper bracket, just take it out a couple times and just slide it back, but always slide it back and forth. Make sure it's nice and loose. Scotch-Brite will work just fine for this too. See that little buildup right there? Just gotta get that off real quick and then it should be okay. Alright, it won't focus. Just trust me, it's clean. there are many different ways to push this piston in. You can use, so what you want to do is you want to grab one of the old worn out pads, or you can use a block of wood, and then you can use a C-clamp. Some guys like to use these big channel locks, just like so. Yeah, kind of get back here. Or I like to use the professional way, is this guy. This is a piston compression tool that it's like basically a caulk gun, but it's designed to push pistons in. And just squeeze it, and then it'll go right in. One-handed operation. There's all kinds of different tools. There's like a ratcheting version of this. There's one for dual piston. This is a single piston calipers. With dual pistons, you have to kind of do it one side at a time, and the other side's always gonna pop right out. So you have to do the pad. You have to put a pad in there to push both pistons in. You never want to go bare. You never want to push on the piston itself with a tool like this. You always want to put something in between, even if it's a block of wood or whatever, and push that in all the way in until it stops, just like that. And then now the piston's completely compressed. So, sorry about my lousy camera work. I'm just kind of working one-handed. Sometimes what you have to do is, if it's too wide, if you feel that these clips are too wide for the piston, take some pliers and just kind of compress it just a little bit. Not much, just enough so where it'll just pop in. Because it's literally just retaining the piston while you put the caliper back on the car, that's all. It can actually, you can take them out and it'll make no difference. It'll just make it harder to get your pads on. There we go. Come on. Get in there. Something also interesting with these pads, and it's becoming more and more common, is they're marked left-hand outer or right-hand outer, and then the other ones are marked inner. So this can go on either side, but this one belongs on the left-hand side, and the reason why is I'll show you here in a second. So this is the wear tab, and what happens is this gets caught on the rotor and it starts vibrating and it starts making a screeching sound to indicate that your pads are low. The factory ones did not have anything like that, as you can tell. So I had no idea the pads were low for this long until recently. I started kind of over and doing the spring maintenance, and then I noticed the pads were freaking low. Anyways, I should have known. It had 90,000 miles on it with the original pads, so kind of should have relative that. Anyways, so the pad's right on these little shoulders right here, the inside part on this Fusion. Any pad, doesn't matter what brand, what car, whatever, wherever it rides on, where it basically normally rests on the caliper bracket, you want to put a little bit of lube on there just to prevent future squealing. I'm going to do it on the inside also. These are clean somewhat. I mean, they're dirty, but they're clean. They're not pitted, or a lot of corrosion buildup happens on these. I'm going to have a car that has that to show you better, but this Fusion does not have that. Like I said, I'll properly do this in the future, simply because this is literally just temporary, just to make sure we don't destroy the car. A little bit of lube on where the caliper is going to rest. You can do it on the back side of the caliper if you want, or put it on the pad itself. This will just prevent squealing, especially when you don't change the rotors like I am not doing. Sorry. Now the caliper should just slide right on. I'd say about 30-35 foot-pounds. I'm sure there's a correct spec, but I'm using my torque arm right here. 35. To get this put back on, carry a lot of patience with you, because this does suck. Okay, found the hot setup. Don't forget to put those caps back in the back. Just it keeps the dust and the moisture out, and will make it a lot easier when you decide to trade it in and the next guy has to change the pads and rotors out, because you didn't change the rotors out, and then it started squealing, and the customer that wanted to buy the car, they didn't like it because it was squealing. So here we are. Drop 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. It's 5. Now go it over again and double check. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're done. Okay, another video of me being lazy. Now, like I said, this is going to be temporary fix. I'm definitely, like I said, I have plans. I want to change all 4 rotors and all 4 corners, put some better pads on there. I'm probably going to do drilled and slotted because we got these big Fusion ST wheels on there, which very exposed rotors and everything. So I actually want to do something a little bit nicer. This is, like I said, this is literally just an emergency repair because of how thin this pad is. I mean, look at that. There's literally nothing left on there. That's actually metal on metal right there. Anyways, so I think what I'm going to do is in the future we're going to do some more videos on my wife's car. It's been super reliable, and I can't, I haven't done a whole lot of maintenance. We need to flush the coolants out. We need other than those oil changes, and I think I did a spark plug change at like 50,000 miles. I haven't done a whole lot to this car, and I think it's time to really focus on maintenance on it because it's approaching 100,000 miles. It can definitely use it. Anyways, that wraps up this video today. This has been Epi the Mustang Master. You saw how to not do your brakes. This is literally just an emergency repair. I will be back with some more Mustang content real soon. But until then, enjoy this video. I will see you next time. This has been Alcarods Garage. I'm going to go enjoy a beer while I do work on the other side. And then you saw how to not do your brakes. I don't know how to end this video. I'm just going to end it like this.